right, everybody, can you all hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, testing.
Oh, you got to turn it on.
A loud voice, but I got the mic. Here we go. Testing now. Now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, welcome today. I'm so excited to have all of you here on Labor Day. So thanks for coming out, even despite some of the rain this morning. And I'm excited to have you all here because we have a lot of important things going on this year with Kate Craig's race here, running for state senate, and also the campaign to vote no on Amendment 1. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today and how it affects us, especially today on Labor Day, which is a day that we have because of unions. And this Amendment 1 is a direct attack on unions. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, talk about the different campaigns here. And I want to go ahead and get started with Jay Emberton. If you would come up here. He is a candidate for the Johnson City Commission, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about his vision for Johnson City. So, without further ado.
Thanks, Noah. Wow. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. Thank you to Kate for putting together this official recognition of labor and of workers and employees who strove throughout the years to give us the right to have this day off. For those who don't know, my name is Jay Emberton. I am running for Johnson City Commission. I was stationed here 9 years ago with my family to teach military science at East Tennessee State University. We retired here 3 years later, and I started a small business. I own a home inspecting company here in town. I've employed 3, 4, 5 local folks throughout those 6 years. And I am now doing both of those jobs. I still teach at the university, and I still run the business. There's a lot to my platform to run for City Commission. I want to talk today specifically about employment and employers and how I see the City Commission helping Johnson City's workers. My platform is based on taking care of the people of Johnson City. Now, a City Commission cannot write laws and policies that affect the state and can change how workers are treated, how employees do or do not get benefits. But what we can do is encourage the right kind of employers to come to our city. I absolutely believe in ensuring that Johnson City continues to grow, that we bring in employers to keep the people of Johnson City working and properly employed. There are plenty of folks who are, and this is a phrase I had not even heard until a couple of years ago, underemployed. Statistics show plenty of people are working, but lots of people who are very qualified for very good positions are not in those positions. The positions are not available anymore. Folks who are PhDs working in fast food and retail because their jobs just are not available where they are at. I believe that the City Commission can encourage the right kind of employers to come here. We can incentivize and encourage employers that look to our city first. Companies that won't come in and bring their employees with them, bring people in to work in their businesses simply to take advantage of the cheap cost of living, any kind of tax benefits. We need to ensure that the workers here in town that are already here have opportunities to live, to work to their ability, to work to their education level. And I believe that the City Commission has the ability to ensure those kind of employers come in. I appreciate any support you can give me in that area. I appreciate any votes. Please visit jayforjc.com, Jayfor or J and the number 4. I'm also J4JC on Facebook. I have home cards in the back, and you can look at more of my platform regarding supporting the city, supporting the workers, and taking care of the people of Johnson City. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay. And I was so excited to talk to you all that I forgot to introduce myself. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Noah Nordstrom. I'm the campaign manager for Kate Craig back here, who's running for state senate. So. And before we continue with our lineup today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Amendment 1. So for those of you who are not aware, Amendment 1 is a constitutional amendment that's on the ballot in Tennessee this year, which seeks to put our right-to-work laws that are already on the books into the state constitution. Now, many of you ask, what's wrong with right-to-work? It sounds good, right? Right-to-work. But it's a very misleading name. Right-to-work laws are designed to kill unions, and that's what they've been doing ever since they started in putting them into place in states since the 1940s. I believe Tennessee's had our right-to-work laws since 1947. And basically what it does is it disincentivizes forming unions, and it makes it really hard for unions to actually properly function once they are formed. And that's why you see that Tennessee has some of the one of the lowest union membership rates in the country. And we see that in non-right-to-work states and right-to-organize states. We see higher wages. We see a larger percentage of jobs that are good-paying jobs and not just minimum wage jobs. And so rather than trying to put these regressive right-to-work for less laws into the Constitution, we should be seeking to repeal these laws in our state. So it's really important this year that when we go to vote, yes, vote for all your candidates from governor all the way down to local, but also vote on these constitutional amendments. In Amendment 1, it's really important that we vote no. So we're going to hear a little bit more about Amendment 1 and kind of the way that it's attacking our working people in Tennessee from the speakers that are coming up ahead. So next, I want to introduce to you Georgia Turner from the CWA, and she's going to talk to you a little bit more about Amendment 1 and her union. So thanks so much. Let's get right in.
Hi, happy Labor Day. It's great to be here today. What a blessing to see all of you here today. So I am a member of Communication Workers of America, Local 3871. I work for AT&T, where we do have a union. Better pay, benefits. Bosses can't fire us just because they want to. Now, if this Amendment 1 goes through, that's going to be a different story. It's going to block our unions, and we need unions in this area. Amendment 1, if this goes through, it's going to make mortality rate, education, all of that is going to be wiped out. So we want to vote no for Amendment 1. Just remember that. Talk to your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your workers. Talk to all of them about voting no for Amendment 1. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Turner. So without any further ado, I want to introduce our next speaker to you, who is Randy Fry with the local plumbers and pipe fitters. So thanks so much. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you all. It is good to be here today and get to speak about Amendment 1 and a little bit about union. I'm a 27-year member of Local 538. You're looking at a guy who went through high school, which is basic education. Went to the apprenticeship program. It's been the best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened to my family. Been able to support my family, give them anything they needed, and almost everything they wanted. But just a little bit about they said the right to work. It is hard on the unions. That's what it was made to do, is break the unions, and that's why it's nice to have a politician like Kate Craig that believes in unions and believes in the working person, because basically it is to hurt the unions, but the right to work is corporations versus the workers. Right to work was made for corporations, and they have politicians in their back pocket. That's if anybody else would, your governor and your ex-governor come out and speak for it. It's because it's in their pockets. Leaf is fighting now in Memphis against Ford. Ford's building a big project out there. He goes out and tries to do all he can to keep that from going union. Ford's already said they're coming down, they're going union. He's fought it tooth and nail, just like Haslam when he showed up at Volkswagen in Chattanooga. I mean, these politicians come out against it because they want to keep the workers oppressed in the state of Tennessee. Lee has the largest non-union mechanical contractor in the state of Tennessee out there in Nashville. I don't know what his people make, but I guarantee they don't make what the union people make in Nashville. But that's a little bit about it. That's, like I said, they want to make it a union versus non-union. It's basically corporations versus the working men and women of the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Randy. And our last speaker on behalf of some of our local unions is going to be David Hutton. If you wouldn't mind coming up this way. And he's a representative of the local AFL-CIO.
On behalf of President Schuler, President Kelly, who's with AFGE, and President Dicus with the State Fed, I want to thank you for inviting us here and having this conversation this morning on Labor Day. I'm going to keep this brief. I want to hit a couple of points real quick. I'm a history major. Went to ETSU, graduated. One thing I learned in the Civil War is the key to the South is Tennessee, right? The key to the South is Tennessee. If you can hold and maintain Tennessee, you can pretty much hold and maintain whatever it is you want to do in the South. In terms of unions, if you can hold Tennessee, you can keep the South non-union, which means you can lower the cost of living and pay. You can attack retirement, safety in the workplace. You can cut the bottom line, which means your employees are out the door, but your profit margin stays healthy. All right, that's what this is about. This has been on the books since I think 47. I think you're right. That being the right to work. All right, but if you have a key, you want to hold on to it very strongly, as much as you can. And the best way to do that is to put it in the Constitution. It's not about Tennessee. It's about the South. That's what this is about. That's what Amendment 1 is all about. It's about the South. So when you talk about it with your friends, just remember, this is not an attack on the unions. It's an attack on the working people. It's an attack on your salary, your safety in the workplace, your retirement. This is what this is about. All right? And I want to stress that to you. But here's the good news. In Tennessee, one thing we have going in this area is there's not a lot of money being poured into this area to support this effort. You guys realize that, right? There's not a lot. They take this area for granted. There's a very low bar to make a really positive impact in this moment. You don't have to do a lot. All right? You don't. You just have to talk to your friends and neighbors. You don't have to convince people to vote against it. Just convince them not to vote at all. That's it. Just don't vote for this particular one. Like, that's it. Like, there's maybe others you want them to vote for. But just don't vote on Amendment 1 at all. That helps us. All right? So I'm not asking anybody to convince anybody to vote one way or another. Just convince them not to vote at all on this one. All right? It's a low bar. Very low bar. Okay? Here's the thing. We're going to continue to try to put the word out. I've talked to Nashville, and they're going to put some billboards. But billboards are only going to do so much. All right? When it comes to important issues, all right, what moves the meter are conversations, person to person. Right? That's what moves the meter. That's what gets people to show up. That's what gets people to pull the lever in the voting box. And that's what this is about today. So, again, thank you for having us, and thank you all for coming out and listening to us. And I can't speak for the rest, but if you have questions about union or what it's like or whatever, please reach out to us. Let us know. We'll be happy to talk to you. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about what unions actually do. And you've got people here with the shirts in Georgia who'll be happy to share any and all information we can. So I want to thank you very much.
great job of highlighting why it's really important that we vote no on Amendment 1 or just leave it blank, either way. But one thing I did want to add actually about this Amendment 1 is, I don't know if you know this, it was actually given to one of our state senators to propose by a group called ALEC. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this group, American Legislative Exchange Council. And it's one of these big dark money groups. We don't know where they get a lot of their money from, but they go and wine and dine politicians to get their way, and to basically support corporations and make laws that are really not beneficial to the working people. So this is not an initiative that comes from the grassroots from Tennesseans. This comes from out-of-state dark money group that wants to push their agenda on Tennessee. So I think it's really important that we get out there and vote no on Amendment 1 this year. And transitioning to this next part, it's also important that we go vote because we have really great candidates on the ballot. And one of those candidates who I'm about to introduce to you is Kate Craig, who I work for. So Kate, if you want to come on up here and talk to us a little bit.
I'll try and keep it from squealing the speaker at you all. So my name's Kate Craig, and I'm running for state senate here in District 3, and that's Washington, Carter, and Johnson counties. So I want to thank you all for being here today to care so much about this issue. So please, if you'll look around and give everybody a hand, give our speakers that have spoken, please give everybody a hand. So I want to say that I come from a family, my grandparents were union members up in Ohio. This matter is incredibly important to me. They would not have had a retirement if it was not for unions. I've worked in several jobs, and I understand the hustle of what happens. I worked 3 jobs getting through college. I still have college debt, but worked 3 jobs. I've worked jobs when I was working for the Girl Scouts and working for the food bank coming out of college. I was also working at Cheddar's trying to make ends meet. And I've also worked for companies, and I'll just say a large box store, that when you finished your shift, that they would literally lock you in if they figured out there was going to be a store visit and keep you there overnight until they made sure there wasn't even a scuff on the floor. And that's not legal. I'm sorry, but it's not. But workers, we all had no voice. So raise your hand if you've ever been in a job that you wish that you had a voice, that the playing field was even, that you could sit at the table and negotiate something for yourself. Raise your hand. That matters. Looking around here, this is all of us. This matters. And so I want to say that this is, when we support unions, we're leveling the playing field. We're giving workers a voice. I think we've been fed this false narrative that you're either for workers or you're for businesses, and I'm going to emphasize small businesses even with that, because really that's not true. I love our downtown that's here, and the downtowns and all that have all been revitalized. But we need a thriving workforce. We have to invest in our workers to do that. If we pay our workers well, then we have a strong economy. All of that matters. So this false narrative that you're either for businesses and protecting our downtown is just not true. So we have to do both. I'm going to encourage you that please get out and vote no on Amendment 1. I know that there's different strategies around this, but I think that as we go and talk to people about this, the more conversations that I've had at doors, at tabling, on the phone with people, that they realize that this isn't what they think it is. As Noah pointed out, the language is confusing. Right to work sounds like I should have a right to go and work. They did that intentionally. They want people to go in and vote for it because they want to mislead people. But it's really the right to earn less. People in non-right-to-work states earn $11,000 less on average, or 15% less than right-to-work states. In an economy where everybody's struggling to afford housing, to afford food, when all of that matters. All of that matters. But let's compound that with all the other things that they're doing in Nashville. There was a gentleman in Sullivan County who was fired because he introduced black voices into the classroom. So this teacher, who's part of the Tennessee Education Association, the closest the teachers have to a union in Tennessee, They stepped up and defended him. Our teachers deserve a full-blown union, and so this having protected and investing in our unions affects everyone. I admittedly have never worked in a job that had a union, but I benefit from unions. We all benefit from unions, whether you've worked in a job that was unionized or not. So I had a safe work environment, 40-hour work week, trying to get fair pay, child labor laws. All of this matters. And we're here on Labor Day, and all thanks to unions. So I grew up here in Johnson City. I actually grew up with parents who split up, so I was half in Johnson City, half in Elizabethton. I went through Johnson City's public schools. I'm a very proud band nerd, and I still have my trumpet and I don't play. But I think that our community here matters. We're Appalachians, and we have a rich history of standing up for workers' rights. Raise your hand if you know the story of the strike in 1929 in Elizabethton. So out of Benburg, women led the strike, coming out fighting for fair pay, for promotion opportunities, and even as the company was trying to pressure them into living in company housing. So they walked out on the job striking. This lasted about a week, and the company tried to blacklist the workers that were on the picket line fighting for these rights. Then 2 people that were union organizers were kidnapped and taken and dropped and basically told, "Don't come back. We don't want unions here. Stop." But they did come back, and when they found out, 4,000 people walked out. So the owner of Benburg, of this rayon mill, contacted the governor, Governor Horton, at the time, and they sent the National Guard, who came down and pointed machine guns at the workers. They did tear gas and smoke bombs, and tried everything to intimidate the workers. And this strike lasted for about 2 months, month and a half, 2 months. And the company still, at the end, after they negotiated, they met the terms that the union was still never recognized, and 300 workers were still blacklisted after that. And this went on actually through the 90s. I was around 10 years old. I remember there was another strike with Benburg out in Elizabethton. And I have a lot of trouble, I'll freely admit, finding that information when I Google it, but I can find a lot on the 1929 strike. So I also really appreciate that WJHL is here to cover this, because the more that we can shine a light of what's going on, the more that the information gets out, that we can talk about what happens, because it's important what happened in 1990 and the strike that happened, as well as in 1929. Workers are still fighting for their right for fair pay, for fair promotions, for safe work environments, all of this. Workers are still fighting for that. So raise your hand now if you're motivated to go out and change something. See, everybody's ready. Everybody's ready to do that. So there's going to be more people that come up and talk to you all. But I'm really appreciative that everybody came out on this rainy day, because metaphorically it's raining in Tennessee. All the laws that they're doing is raining in Tennessee. So I'm running against Rusty Crowe, who's been in office for 32 years. And he supports this legislation. There's no ambiguity around this. He supports amending the state constitution to include right to work. And I don't think that that's fair to Northeast Tennesseans, to Tennesseans, to workers across the board. This is not who we are. So let's vote to change that, because when we have a ballot initiative, it has to go through the legislature. Voters can't put that on the ballot themselves. So who we have in Nashville matters too. So I'm asking for your vote on November 8th. And we have volunteer opportunities back here, so if Chase and Arya will wave, they'll come up and talk to you here in a little bit about ways to get involved. But would love to have you all sign up, because we do have to get the word out. Yard signs are available. Please take one, or as many as you'd like. And but thank you.
We managed to avoid it squeaking again, so we're doing good. So next I'm going to invite Chase, Lindsay, and Arya and Nava, who are both campaign staff, up to talk a little bit about what are some next steps. So we're all really excited. We're all going to go vote, right? But what else can we do? to get involved and make sure that Amendment 1 is defeated and that Kate is elected. And these guys are going to tell you a little bit about that.
And Jay's elected.
And Jay, I'm sorry.
No, you can hold it. I hate that we have to share a mic, but can y'all hear me without this?
Yes.
Awesome. So just a couple of next steps. So like Kate said, we're set up back here in the corner. Before y'all leave, please at a minimum come get a yard sign. But what we really want y'all to do is to sign up to help take Kate's message to Nashville. You know, we've got phone banking Monday nights and Thursday nights. If the weather holds, we're actually going to get out and canvass right after this. And so I see a couple of our volunteers here already who have made phone calls and who have door knocked already. But we'd love to have as many of y'all that, you know, can spare a few times, you know, 45 minutes after this, if y'all can help us knock 20 doors a person, you know, that'll really help us out. I don't know what's that. But yeah, definitely, I guess I'll end it there. We do have the Moja Festival coming up on the 10th, and we do need some volunteers to table for that. And we will, when we do get out and do some door knocking after this, we will be passing out some No on One signs. We have No on One merch, if that's what you call it. Back here on the table, we've got bumper stickers. You know, just give us a shout here at the corner table once we're all done here.
Also, next weekend, Saturday, we have 2 canvassing shifts. One in the morning and then one in the afternoon. What time?
We're starting at 10 o'clock and then at 3 o'clock.
And then at 3 o'clock.
Yes.
And then we have a sign-up sheet back there. And so please sign up. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you get your awesome t-shirts.
Oh, back there, they're for sale over there. I believe.
These shirts are $25, and then the shirts that Kate and a couple of other people here hanging out have are $20. So we can set you up with t-shirts, yard signs. We've got palm cards. You know, anything you guys need just to help spread Kate's message. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. As we're wrapping up here, I just want to repeat kind of what they were saying right now. Please take a second to stop by the table, get you some stickers, yard signs, sign up to help volunteer, because this is really important. We have a couple months until a really important election here in Tennessee, and it's really on us to do everything we can to get these folks elected. You know, we have a chance to flip some seats here on the City Commission. We have the chance to change out our state senator who's been here for 32 years. Too long. We have a chance to defeat this anti-union amendment in the Constitution, and it all depends on us. So what I'm asking of you all is to volunteer some time to help with this campaign, to donate if you have the money to do that, and at the very least just talk to your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers. Make sure that they're registered to vote at their current address. We have till October 11th. This is the voter registration deadline. And it's just really important. Get your neighbors out, because there's so much at stake. We've been seeing all summer what's at stake, right? About people's rights, about the future of working people in Tennessee. So that is my commission to you all, is that you get involved, do what you can, because it's going to take all of us. So thank you so much for coming out today, and don't forget to stop by the table.